What's up, everybody?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back to Lighthouse Collective. We're so excited that you guys are tuning in this week.
Yes, we're so excited. We're very thrilled to begin another episode with you
I
guys.
yeah, I know. Um, it's been a journey, right, Steph?
Yes, it's been a couple of days, we could say, a couple of weeks. It's been it's funny because it's if it's not that you're sick, it's not if that, it's always something. But you know what? I think we've both learned to discover that part of the walk is the struggle. So
Yeah.
if the struggle isn't there, that means God isn't motivating you to grow.
You know, I
So
was I was thinking this morning before we got on before we got on this,
hmm
I was like, obedience is hard and
yeah,
discipline is hard too. Like Dad has always said, in the call that God has for you, you're gonna have to be disciplined and committed because things are going to get in the way of your obedience. And it's such a fact because the last thing I had on my head today was to do this. I had such a draining week
I feel you.
and I'm like, I don't even want to. But then it's the act of obedience. It's like,
Yeah,
no, I have to be obedient. I have to be committed and disciplined
definitely.
because God has called us to do this. And if I put my feelings to it, I'll never do this. Right.
Yeah,
And so
definitely,
And so
definitely.
we delay it. And so, but
And
here we
and
are, guys.
it's good that you said it because I feel like a lot of I was literally having that conversation last night with my husband, and I think that's the part where it's taken us to this part that we're in this journey, and we've been able to do it because I think the most important thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize it, um, if we allow our feelings to dictate what we're gonna accomplish, we wouldn't be doing this because there's so many things that come in our way, like the fact that we're working moms, we're mom of two, like we have
We take care of our
fear, and if
house.
it's not
We're
one, it's
wives.
the other one. If it's a situation, it's the other situation. And it's a nonstop situation. So the fact that, like you just said it right now, like we're putting our feelings aside and everything that we feel personally aside, and we're actually saying, you know what, no, God, like you're going to give us the strength to pull through, and like we can do this. We have to do this because you called us to do this. So we're being obedient. And I think that applies to anything, like even exercising or anything. Like you want to start exercising, but then you're like, "Ah, I don't feel like it." That's what stops you. It's your feelings. It's what literally stops you. So having
I'm
control of your
so
feelings.
tired. I'm so
So
tired.
tired. Yeah.
Also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you're probably going to see that this is the first time we're doing it with actually video.
Yes.
And so we're not mega fancy with it, but we're learning. This has been a learning process for us. Like Steph said, we're full time. Uh, we work full time. We're moms. We're wives. We take care of our homes, and so
hmm
this has been like a side creativity project, and it's been nice because I've seen God's hand. So like when he's put his hand on this because
hmm
I discover like platforms and I'm like, wait, this
Yeah.
platform, we can do it and we can record it from like our homes and we can add the video and like all we just need to do is make sure you have a good microphone. And it's been nice because he's been building it little by
By little,
little.
yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
it
like,
does.
he's like the father. He's like, don't worry, girls. Like, I'm going to walk with you girls and I'm going to show you. Just let me guide you. Like, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it easy because give or take, we both live in South Florida, but the distance between our homes is also like a distance. Like, we live like a good 45 minutes away from one another. So it's just commuting back and forth from our houses. It's a good hour and a half, not
I don't
taking the time that we're going to takes us to record and to prepare and everything. So the fact that we have this option as well to do it like this, it's like such a blessing.
Yes, it is 100%. But if this is the first time you're tuning in, guys,
Mhm.
welcome to Lighthouse Collective. We're just two sisters that we have honest conversations. We talk about our faith, and we've
Mhm.
always done this. We've spent like countless times on
Hours.
the phone.
Hours on the
Yeah.
phone.
And it's funny because usually we talk on FaceTime. So this is like FaceTime right now for
Yeah,
us.
this is like FaceTime, but we have microphones in front of us now.
Exactly. It's a little bit more upscale. And so we're now just like opening the doors and the conversation for other people to hear.
Hmm.
And that's why we started this. We started this to also just bring light to people.
Exactly. Yeah, like
And
to kind of like let, because a lot of the times when you and I speak, like we speak and like we get into these conversations, and it's like sometimes we're like, wow, like that was so deep what you just said right there to me. Like that was like so profound, and vice versa. Like same thing with me, like or something that I went through, I experienced. You're like, oh, Steph, like I never saw it like that, and then I could be like, oh, Prissy, like so it's when like we kind of go back to a little bit like in how this all became about. It was in the midst of those conversations that God spoke to me and told me like, what you're doing there with your sister is what I need you to share with others. So it's really weird because I was like, this is so personal, this is between her and I, like it's our convos, it's our like conversations, like why would somebody want to hear our conversations? But I get it, like God showed me like, there's so many people that maybe are going to hear you, and through the struggles or through the situations that you both face through, they can feel like either they're not alone, like, I'm a guiding path for them. I can be a light, so it's like I said, it's still new to me. Like it's still something very new. Like right now we're like doing it, but like it's just also amazing seeing how God has worked through it all. So
yeah,
here we are.
here we are, guys. But this week is a special week because we've been celebrating Steph's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
We don't
And
say age.
so, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to put you out there.
Like to be
But
honest with you, like it doesn't hurt me. Like I always tell everybody, like it doesn't really bother me. Like I thought it would when I hit the 40s, like it would it hurt, but I feel like you gotta own it. Like you gotta be proud of it. So it's like I'm not ashamed to say the 4 and the 2. It's 42 now. I'm on the second floor of my 40s. It's good. It's good.
yeah. Well, there you go. Steph is turning 42. And it's awesome, right? To get so far and
Yeah.
to live all that you have lived. And so this episode I wanted to do something special, obviously, because it's your birthday week
Hmm.
and to celebrate you. And I've also been seeing like simultaneously on
Hmm.
social like trends
Hmm.
where people are addressing their age and then
Hmm.
their younger selves.
Okay.
So the trend is basically, and we're going to do it today. You are sitting and having coffee. Well, you don't drink coffee. So
I don't
in
drink
this
coffee. Let's
case,
say drinking what I drink. That who everybody who knows me knows what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a
yeah,
Coke.
yeah. But let's say for you, it's going to be you're sitting down at a restaurant and you're going to have dinner. And
Okay.
you're going to have dinner with your younger self.
Oh,
So
okay.
for the case of your birthday, I also thought 21 years ago, you were turning 21, which is a big year for a lot of us, right? 21
Mm-hmm.
is like you are quote unquote an adult. And so you're going to be sitting at a table today and you're going to be talking to your 21-year-old self. It's also very special because 21 years ago, when you were turning 21, somebody was being born. And that baby that was born on your 21st birthday is turning 21. So we're going to be, you're just going to have a combo. You're going to
Gonna
tell
be
her, yeah, you're just going to tell her, like, where are you now? Like, you know what you were going through at 21. I think
Mhm.
you were about to get married, or you were like,
Yeah, I was in the preparation for my wedding. Yeah.
and so all the expectations of that, um, of what marriage was going to look like, of what your adulthood now was going to look like. And yeah, also tell her where you've gotten and like what you have seen in the last 21 years unfold in your life. All right. You ready? Do you want to close your eyes and get like ready?
I was closing my eyes. I don't want to like start like, but wow, like going back to like 21 years ago, and it's amazing because right now where you're sitting right now and you were sharing that with me, something came up, and like something that I kind of had like put aside, but like it's something that I've been going through many years, and it's something that I have to consistently up to the day of now still like monitor. But I just realized I discovered that in my 20s, like in my right before I got married, like 21. For all of you who know, like I got engaged at 21, and but also at 21 I discovered something that really freaked me out, which was the first little lump that I discovered in my boobs and my breast. And I remember the fear that it brought to me at that moment. Um, right now, when you were mentioning, like, oh, go back to 21, and like in that moment, I kind of thought about it because I was like, oh, at 21, like, kind of had gone out of my rebellious era that I had previous in the end of my teen years, because my teen years, the final years of my teen years, like you can say I tested waters and did things that, um you live and you learn in a certain way, but I feel like also God had a purpose with everything. um but at 21 is when I did discover my first little lump, and that took me on a whole different roller coaster of emotions of my what is to come for me, like what is going to happen to me. um like I'm just starting my life, like I'm just right now gathering my things and like doing things, like, and gonna start a life with my husband to be. And I I would like to tell that girl in that moment and those feelings that I was feeling of so much uncertainty of what was going to happen, because at 21, especially 21 years ago, um we also have to understand there's an advancement now in the care of breast and stuff like that. There's a lot more advancement. At that time, I was getting checked, and like they couldn't really see what was wrong with me because you're still so young and your breasts are still so dense. So it's really hard to see if it was something that I had to be concerned about, or if it was something that I didn't need to be concerned about. So there was so much insecurity and like so much fear because I didn't know what was going on. I remember even one occasion my dad went with me because he was getting frustrated because they had done like 3 mammograms already on me, and they weren't able to tell me what they were seeing. And like obviously a mammogram is a very strong, thing that you're getting done, and I'm still fairly young. So, for my dad to have stepped up and said, like, this is ridiculous, like what's going on here, like we need to figure out. So eventually they ended up finding like some place where I can do like a sonogram, and the sonogram was like a very like high dense sonogram that they can actually see and like check. And it ended up being that obviously I do suffer of like these benign tumors in my breast area, and eventually throughout the years they come, they go, they sometimes they get bigger, sometimes they get smaller. But going back to 21, at 21 it is fear. Like it was scary because I was like in the midst about to start like what I thought my future was going to be, and here I am hit with this of like, oh, now I don't even know if I'm even going to make it that far. But I would love to tell that girl that remember always, and I think it goes back to the same promise that God has always put in my path, and about his plans. And just knowing that right now it looks like a mess in front of you. Like it looks like disaster. Like nobody's giving you clarity. Nobody's giving you an answer. But keep your eyes on me, that I will give you clarity and I will give you peace. And at that time, I didn't know that. Like, even though many of you guys, like, I'm not a very highly emotional person. Like, I'm not. Like, I can control my emotions, but I'm not going to lie. That if there's one time of my life that I felt fear, was there, because I didn't know what it was. And obviously, a lump in your breast is alarming to anybody. And yeah, for me, that moment was something that if I can go back and tell myself, is like, this is just one of the first time God is going to show you that he has control of you. And nothing that you see in front of you, or nothing that looks like it's going to be, is what it's going to be. I have the plan. I know what I'm doing, and I have control. And I would just remind myself, like, tell that person, like that Stephanie 21 years ago, just trust him. Like, don't focus on the disaster in front of you. Don't focus on how impossible it looks. Don't focus on how things look like there's no way you can get out of that hole. Focus that God does have a way. Like, he will provide a way. And no matter how hard it looks, like, your faith needs to be placed on that. Because like, throughout my years, and I can say the beginning years of my marriage, I felt like that's what God really, really, really worked on me a lot, was like putting that trust, that has like no limits, of like who he is in my life and what he's willing to do, the faith like behind it, of believing and declaring and knowing that if I speak in faith and I have the faith, like, the trust comes as well, and that he will make the way when I don't see it and I don't understand how it can happen. So for me, I think 21, that would be like my goal, would be to tell that 21-year-old that in that moment that she was having so much fear, to just trust God, like truly trust him. Like, don't focus on what you're seeing right now. Trust that nothing he's going to put in your path is to harm you. Nothing he's going to do to you is because he's trying to hurt you. It's always has greater purpose. And I'm so thankful, because even though throughout the years, like those who know me, like, I've had to get myself monitored, but overall everything's always stayed like very normal. It's been very fine. And apparently it seems like it's, with the years, we found out it was like hormonal. It's something that I developed hormonal. They told me now that because I'm in my 40s, hopefully when I hit menopause, they should go away, because your hormones tend to calm down once you hit menopause. So, but my biggest focus for my 21-year-old is just, it would be that, like, I would tell her that, because yeah, like, at that time, like, you probably, like, you were 8 years younger than me, so you don't remember that, and you probably didn't even know that. But yeah, that's around the time that I discovered this is like a whole new combo for you.
Yeah, this is, as you can tell, she says, she's always been able to control her emotions. I'm here like wiping my tears away, because this is the first time I actually hear the story and like hear of what you went through. I know that you've always had like, masses, and like you've always had to monitor it way before and get mammograms way before, but I didn't know it happened that soon, that you felt all of those things. Because I was 8 years younger. My head was also, I think I was also very sheltered from things.
Yeah, from that. Exactly. Because you were my younger sister, and then at that time, you went, like I said, I'm not saying that here we're perfect, because we've had our share of fights, but we've always had a very close bond. And I know, as being your bigger sister, I know that that would have been something emotionally that would like create anxiety, or would have, at that time we didn't know it was anxiety, but we knew it would have created something into you. So obviously we did shelter you from giving you too much information of what was going on. And because, like we said, I've always been so able to control my emotions in front of people, like you wouldn't known that what I was feeling, but I was like, I was very
Yeah.
scared. I
Yeah.
was very
That
scared at that time. And especially the fact that I had to see my dad step up, like
you're coming.
it,
You're
yeah,
you're co-
become my advocate for it. It was like, okay, okay.
you cut off. But yeah, that was a lot. I didn't think
You
that
didn't
was
know
just
that. Yeah. And it's crazy
yeah.
because right now, when you were telling me, like, that literally came into my heart right now. Like, that, like, remember you experienced this at 21. I was like, oh my God, I did. And all the fear and all the uncertainty that it brought to me. It was very like, it just, in that moment, it brought back every single feeling that I had, like feeling it, like when I felt it, like do I tell my mom? Who do I tell? Because obviously we know my mom too, like how she gets, and just like, okay, like what do we do here? Like where do we go from here? And that whole process of sharing and like, okay, got to get this checked, got to see what's going on, and yeah, it was a journey, it was a process, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's me at 21.
Yeah, you're 21. Your thought, I guess, at that point wasn't so much um typically what you think, I can go out, I can drink, ID me, like all of those things. If you know Stephanie, she doesn't drink. She stopped drinking way before
Before
her
she even turned
21st
21.
birthday. Yeah, she stopped drinking and she doesn't like it. Like she does not like alcohol. She doesn't have a glass of wine. She doesn't drink a beer, like zero, nothing. And so that wasn't in your mindset.
Mm-mm.
That's and so now looking at, oh my God, what if I don't make it past this is a
Mm-hmm.
lot. It's a lot to unfold so young, and then the unknown of it while you're
Yeah.
also in a way trying to plan a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have in that moment like a moment where you're like, why am I even planning if I don't even know if this is gonna happen?
To
Or
be
no?
honest with you, I'm getting like, right. It's funny how we're talking and God is like bringing back like all my feelings and memories. At that time, we were also all dealing family wise with something so emotional and so strong. And it
What?
was,
Because now at this point I don't even remember anything.
we were, and I think I know now why I was so like so much, and like why we were also dealing with our grandfather's Alzheimer's, and the
Oh my
in the
God, yes,
in
because
the in
it's
the
all
fall of him, of who he was and who he was becoming. And I remember, like, everybody was already in such high emotions because there was obviously a lot of emotions going on in the family at that time. But at the same time, like now me realizing this, and like we're already dealing with this situation, and now I come across and I have this that I'm discovering on my body. And what is this? And like, what does this mean? So it was, like I said, I'm not an emotional person, but I think if there was a time in my life that I really felt emotional, because it was that time. And I remember my mom used to like get at me a lot because I remember towards the end of El Abuelito, like around that time when he got placed in the home and everything, everybody fought with me. Like my mom argued with me a lot in regards like, why don't you go see him? Like, why don't you go visit him? And it wasn't that I didn't want to see him. Like, it wasn't that I didn't want to see him. It was more of like a way of me telling myself, like, I want to hold on to the memories of him being the person that I knew he was. not this of who he's becoming. And and sometimes like my mom like would tell me, yeah, but like, you have to be there. And I get it, because it, is as a family member, somebody that you love, like you should be there. But in my moment, like the way that I was handling, I guess in that moment, even though I'm not a very emotional person, it was the way I was handling my emotions. I was like, I'm already handling things and emotions and certain things. And then I don't want to go put myself in a situation where I'm going to come out. And every time I would see everybody leave, or like from visiting him, come home, everybody was always crying and heartbroken, because we knew it wasn't going to get better. It was only going to get worse. So I looked at everybody like, why do you torture yourself like that? Like, why do you place yourself in that torture? That's how I felt it. Like, I felt like that's just torture. Like, why are you doing that to yourself? And I was just trying, I guess, in a certain way, like protect myself. And I guess in that, I guess that, like I said, like it's like the one time of my like season of my life where I really had emotions where, even though, like I said, I can control them, but they were very high
Do
in
you feel
so
like
many things that were being handled, and what I was dealing with, and then seeing also the family like break for like what was happening with our grandfather. And it was hard. It was really hard, but I'm grateful, because I now today I can have more clarity and understanding of it throughout the years as they pass by. But in that time, yeah, like I said, you were younger, but at that time my emotions were high. And I remember my mom used to always tell me, hey, like, you're doing wrong by not going to go see him. You need to go see him. And it was of me challenging my emotions, because I didn't want to break. I didn't want to like do that. And at the
that
end,
was gonna
obviously, when he did, right before he passed, obviously he passed before my wedding. I did go see him with my dad. And I remember when we went to go see him, I remember my drive was with my dad in the car, him and I by ourselves. And believe me, like, I was struggling, because I hadn't seen him in like months.
Is this when he was in the hospice?
Yes. I hadn't seen him for months. And I remember my dad was very quiet in the car. And in that aspect, you can kind of say daddy and I are a little bit less emotional. So we have a little bit of more control. And we were just in the car quiet. And he looks at me and I look at him, and he's like, it's like unbelievable what we're going for. And I was like, yeah, it's we're in shock, because we know we're going to say goodbye. And I remember getting there, and I remember like everything was like so slow motion, like so slow. And I remember getting there, and when we got there, the elevator ride up to the floor where he was at, like we ran into like our cousins in the elevator. And I remember prior to us getting there, they had called us, because I guess he had like kind of taken a gasp, and it seemed like he was going to go, but then he didn't go. And they just reminded everybody, like, you're there because you're letting them go, and you have to control yourself. You have to control yourself. I remember I came in and I thought I was going to break, but I didn't. I didn't cry. I didn't shed a tear. I just looked at him, and it wasn't because I wasn't feeling pain or anything like that. I was hurt. I was sad. But I just looked at him, and in that moment when I looked at him, I was just like, God, like, definitely it's hard to see somebody you love in this situation, but I have peace that you have control. And I remember everybody got around him and started crying and crying. And I got annoyed. I'm going to be honest. I got annoyed, because I was like, in my heart, the way I was feeling, it was like we were supposed to be there to let him know it was okay for him to go, and it was okay to like let him be. And the fact that everybody was like, I was just like, stop. Like, I felt like telling everybody, stop, like, stop. But obviously, I had to respect everybody handles their emotions differently. And everybody goes through emotions differently than I do. And I can't be so, closed minded. But yeah, like, I feel like my early 20s, I handle emotions in ways and levels that I didn't expect. It should be the era where you're supposed to be like party and like clubbing. And for me, I think my 21 and my 22 was that was was those emotions of figuring out what was going on with my health situation, dealing with the family and seeing everybody hurt with the my grandfather's situation, and like seeing how, he was such a happy person and such a person full of life and so full of happiness, and just to see him kind of fade away, it was really, really hard. But I feel like, in I guess, my experience of my 20s, and I don't know if somebody who's listening right now is probably going through a similar situation, instead of it being like that situation of like, hey, party, I'm so excited because I'm going to get to go party now, drink or whatever. But you're actually facing hard situations right now, and you're going through difficult moments that you're like, man, this is not what I expected 21 to be. This is not what I wanted my 21s to be. I guess what God is probably trying to let you know right now is trust him. That what you're seeing in front of you right now is not the end situation. It's just part of the process. And even though right now you don't see how this can work for your good, or how this can bring you something better, or seeing or having a loved one that is so close to you pass at this stage, just know that God's plans are perfect. God is not doing anything in your life right now that wasn't meant for you to be better, to do better, and to have a better outcome. I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking in the beginning. It's our feelings. Either you let your feelings control what's in front of you, or you grab assertiveness in who God has told you that he is and that he's willing to do for you. And if you're right now going through something like difficult, and just know that you're not alone. Sometimes our 20s can be the fun era, and some of us can have that fun era. I think like Priscilla can say her 21s were her boom, 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 part time.
Yeah.
Nothing like like here we are, two sisters, 21s, completely different experience. Because Priscilla's 21s, I can say they were a completely different experience from mine. But if you are in a similar situation, like, just hold on, have faith, and trust that you will come out better at the end. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And
This isn't the end game.
yeah. And to that, I want to end this episode. You're again sitting at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Tell her that, tell her what God has done.
What hasn't God done? It's like, I'm
Tell,
not gonna cry.
tell her what God has done in your life. Did he meet dreams? Did he give you answered prayers? Like, tell her what God has done and where you're at now.
Well, I can tell her, oof, I'm about to cry, and I don't cry. um, trust, trust the process. God has been so faithful to you in so many occasions. Um, you will see how he will take you by the hand and do things in your life that you would have never thought he could have done, or that you would have ever imagined that you would have been able to do. And in the midst of every obstacle that he's put in your path, he never put it with the intention to set you back, to hurt you, or to make you feel that you couldn't. He always did it because he was showing you something better, and he was pushing you to be something better. Believe that no matter what comes your way, God has something beautiful for you at the end. There's been time after time, from your first purchase of your apartment to becoming a mother, to buying your home, your relationship prior to having kids with your husband, the experiences that he took you both through to grow, I wouldn't change them for anything right now, because I've seen his grace, I've seen his love, and I've seen how much he's taken care of you. And don't ever, ever, ever doubt it. Ever. That's what I would tell her. Like, don't ever doubt it.
Oh my God, I'm like
Because
crying.
don't ever doubt it. Because, yeah. And like I said, it doesn't mean that there wasn't hard times. There's hard times. But it's going back and looking at every single one of them and saying, wow, like, now I see why you did that, why you put me through that. Now I know. So, yeah, I just tell her that. Don't doubt it. Like, trust him.
You know what's
That's what I
beautiful?
would.
You know what's beautiful? A lot of people would get specific, right, with that answer.
Yeah.
And you just said trust him.
Trust him.
Hold his hand. Lean on him, because it's going to get hard. It's going to get rocky. You're going to doubt, but just stay focused. And that's beautiful, because it's understanding that the journey is not smooth sailing. The journey will have
Never meant to be smooth sailing.
The journey is meant to have obstacles. It's meant to get rough. It's meant to push you to limits. But that's why we need to walk in faith and walk in trust and hope and see the promise and lean on it and lean on the promise maker.
Exactly.
Like, wow, Steph, I think
Yeah.
you're not an emotional person, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm not an emotional person. I really have good control of my emotions, but today, I guess bringing that, like, it really brought back like so many things that I had like kind of like, oh, okay, like this. But right now, like when you brought the question up, it was like that, and I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Like this is what I was experiencing at that time. I wasn't party girl, you know. Now, if we would have been talking about my ends of my teens, that's a whole different ballgame.
That's a whole ball game for a whole different conversation.
Whole different.
But
Now we could have in a future occasion, but right now, 21 for me was that. And like I said, hopefully somebody who is listening, maybe not even 21, maybe you're in a different, like you're just going through something hard right now. And you don't see the way, like you don't see how this can work. Like you don't see how it's getting any better. Put the faith in God, put the trust in God, and I guarantee you, He will give you, number one, the peace that passes all understanding, to know that He's got it and you just got to trust. You don't gotta you don't gotta trust your understandings. You gotta trust his understanding of the process. So that's kind
What's
of like
that
where I
that
leave it.
that Bible verse? Let's leave it with that Bible verse, right?
Mm-hmm. Shout out to our families because we're doing this at home and they've all kind of quiet down. So shout out to our families. We love our husbands and our children for cooperating through this
Yeah,
process.
seriously. Seriously. And so we'll end it today with this Bible verse. And I think it's fitting because you were about to embark in a journey right at 21,
Mm-hmm.
full of unknowns, full of where you had your plans and your ideals, and then seeing other things unfold that weren't in those plans.
Mm-hmm.
And then the what you told her that God has done. I think this scripture is fitting, especially for anybody listening that can probably relate right now with what she was mentioning she went through.
Mm-hmm.
It's Proverbs 3, verse 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways, know him, and he will make your path straight. So, my friends, lean on him, trust him. Don't rely on what you think and what you see as a reality. Trust in him because he's going to straighten your paths. He's going to lead you through. Know him, believe in him,
Mm-hmm.
lean on him. And so we thank you guys for listening.
Yes, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode.
We hope this brought you light, encouragement. We hope that you sensed Jesus talking to you, the Holy Spirit talking to you in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not you, maybe you have a friend that is going through something similar. Share this episode with them. Um, if you need prayer, email us, DM
Let
us,
us know.
let us know. We would love to pray for you. Um, but yeah, we just love you guys. We thank you for tuning in every week.
Yes.
And happy birthday, Steph.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
22. Bye,
Until
guys.
until next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.